Hello, I'm Linda Seith from The Layered Onion. Thank you for joining us. We will be listening to our amazing creators talk about their art and mental health. 48 million artists all over the world share this lived experience. The Layered Onion was formed to create a supportive community, allowing the creators to focus on their art, bringing their work from the shadows to receive the recognition and opportunities they deserve. Each podcast will feature an artist who talks about their work and mental wellness. Art is healing. We hope these discussions will inspire you to appreciate the stories behind the creations and, more importantly, inspire your inner creator. Together, we can tackle the stigma around mental health.
Could we just walk? My name is John F. Gerrard. I'm from Calgary, Alberta. That's in Canada for those who don't know.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Layered Onion podcast. You are so multi-talented. Maybe you can tell us all your different artistic ventures.
Oh, thank you. I started acting when I was younger, and that led to music, and music led to graphic design, and then I went to art school to study drawing. I wrote a book this past February. And kind of bounced between writing and visual work and the odd song here and there. You know, like people ask me what my inspiration is, and I usually answer with it's a bit more of a compulsion. I've always kind of felt the need to express myself in some way or another. It's been a way for me to understand the world around me and process things. Yeah.
So I have to bring this up. You recently released a single called Walk. And I'm a longtime walker. I've walked for 25 years with the same walking partner. And frankly, it's a huge part of our therapy. And I just really enjoyed the cadence. It felt like I could really feel the motion. I am going to share, hopefully you're okay if I shared a segment of your song with the audience?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
My, oh my, that ocean overhead, it's open and bright red. There's no time I pick my paintings from that wall.
Can you tell me about writing and singing this song?
Yeah, I too have been helped by walking. When I was in the psych ward, it was a real source of solace, I guess. Just to keep moving and listen to music, and another way to sort of process. It gives the body something to do. And then the lyrics are they're pretty abstract, but kind of deal with my issues with, I guess, existential issues is probably the best way to put it.
As a walker, I felt the cadence.
Oh, cool.
And how do you make that happen? Did you actually write it as you were walking?
And there's actually in the bridge of the song, the chords walk their way up. So I thought I really like how that worked out. So
Well, kudos. It's awesome. So one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is you were in the first issue of the Shallot. You actually had the center spread, and the first issue was on reflections on self, and the title of yours was Self-Portrait and Positive Memories. I would love for you to talk first about the creation and then really sort of the process and thoughts and describe how the piece came about.
Sure. Yeah. When the pandemic first hit, I started doing these text-based pieces. And they're all meant to be sort of like a speculative zone to explore different ideas. And some of them I start with a theme, and then others I don't. This one I had the theme of self-portrait and positive memories. So the idea was to kind of like look back and just try to find the positive things that have happened. And it was an interesting exercise because I found myself pretty more more grateful and more positive, I guess, just by focusing on positive things in the past. It kind of perpetuated in a way.
So art can be, I write, and all of us that are a part of the Layered Onion are obviously lived experience artists. So let me ask you this: when you work on pieces, art can be very healing.
Mm-hmm.
When you approach your art, how often do you sort of have, like in this case, positive memories was kind of your premise, but
Mm-hmm.
how often do you approach art with some idea in mind?
It's probably about 50-50 because it's nice just having the page be whatever comes to mind, and not be restricted by any sort of theme. But there are certain like words and sayings that I find myself coming back to quite a lot.
Can you explain to me how, I don't even know what the process is called, where it's reflected in four corners?
Yeah, so what I do is I have these 20-inch square pieces of paper, and then I use like a black marker to write and draw. And then what I do is I bring them into the computer and then invert the colors so the background becomes black. And then I impose what I call a dual aspect symmetry, which basically mirrors them horizontally and vertically.
When you're far away, but when you come close, of course, you focus in on the words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're meant to be enjoyed just for the aesthetic and the shape of the text, but then also if you want to dig in and there is content to be found, like literal content, I guess.
Yeah, and I love the fact that it has just really two functions.
Mm-hmm.
The one where you can just really enjoy it from afar visually,
Cool.
and then you really then get absorbed with the written word when you get closer.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the goal.
So I know you've recently authored the book in February, We Make Clocks, Not Time. What motivated you to write a book?
When the pandemic first hit, again, I was doing these social media posts, kind of like short written pieces on mental health and whatnot, just as a way to kind of contribute. I think I wanted to contribute to what was going on, and I thought that I could use my words to be helpful. And those posts kind of, and also the text-based work, like I was exploring a lot of ideas. Like I'm really interested in free will and how that relates to mental illness. And so I sat down with the intention of just kind of writing, and 10 days later I had the bulk of of a book. And I ended up going back and changing quite a lot, but I wrote like the bulk of it in 10-hour sessions.
That's amazing.
Thanks,
When I think of the process of my book, it took so much longer.
Yeah, I mean, I did edit it was edited quite significantly, but I think I've been wrestling with these ideas for a while, so it was just a matter of getting them out of my head and on the page,
Were you able to pick out a short excerpt that you'd want to share with us?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so this section is called I Don't Care. Sometimes when I say that I don't care, I really mean that I care too much to risk losing what I might lose if I say that I care. If I don't care about an issue, I'm not invested, and I can't be hurt if things turn out differently than how I would have wanted them to. There you go.
Talk about, how does that tie back to what you had just talked to me about, the free will?
Sure.
Maybe you could explore that more with me.
Yeah, so I feel like it's kind of a double-edged sword, the whole free will thing. Like, if we say we have choice, that kind of opens up the door for shame and guilt and all those horrible things. And I mean, no one chooses to get ill, but then if we say we have a choice, on the flip side, we also open up the door for we're empowered. Like we have the power to change our situation. So yeah, I know for me, like it's been a process of like, I guess figuring out what are clocks and what's time, like what's in my control and what's out of my control. Yeah, because it can be really, really painful to come to terms with what's been imposed on us. And but yeah, like there's that Viktor Frankl quote, and I'm going to paraphrase it poorly, unfortunately, but he talks about how you can take everything away from someone except for their ability to respond. So like, and he's a Holocaust survivor, or he was, rest in peace. And so I sometimes I think like if he can choose to be positive at having gone through that, like, I feel like it's also within my power to choose to be positive and choose to I don't know, and like saying all this out loud, I'm thinking like, because there's still a lot I have to explore, and I'm kind of in the early stages of figuring out because I get how controversial the whole free will thing is, like, I'm just excited to kind of explore it further.
Well, the quote you just talked about really circled back to the passage that you read.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of the decision to care or not care,
mm-hmm.
or be positive or not positive.
Mm-hmm.
The duality.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because and sometimes I don't think it's like reacting in a super positive way. It's just it's reacting in a realistic way. Like I know for myself, like there's certain like beliefs or values I have that, or I've had, that aren't they're just not realistic. And so it's not a matter of like responding with something like super flowery and positive. It's just being like more realistic about these memories or these values.
I think, isn't that part of what drives us to creation, is that whole lifelong learning, the idea that we're just evolving?
Totally.
I think often, I don't want to say it's a mindset, sometimes people who have mental health challenges, you're just driven to keep exploring.
Mm-hmm, totally.
It's almost out of your control.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that for me, art is certainly an exploration, an activity and exploration for sure.
So maybe tell me a little bit, how did you find the layered onion? You were one of the first people who found us. So how did you find us?
I think Instagram.
One of the things we've heard from many folks is they still felt alone, even though there were so many.
I think one of the most valuable parts of this community has been connecting with you folks, and also just having people to give feedback to my work. That's been really helpful. Yeah, that whole isolation piece is huge, I think, because, I think sometimes we say like, oh, you just got to do better self-care. You just got to take care of yourself better. But like, I think that people need to be a part of a community to be healthy. And there's that community aspect to being healthy. That's so important. I remember when I trained as a peer support worker, that was such a huge part of my recovery. Just learning that other people are in a similar situation. Yeah. Like my background is psychosis. So I think there's still a lot of stigma that we have to face with psychosis, but just knowing that there's other people who, are doing well. They're not, because just the images we're given for psychosis is like the mass murder, and people confuse psychosis with psychopathy. Like psychopathy or psychosis isn't psychopathy. Seeing ourselves out there is such a important part of or fighting the stigma, I guess.
Well put. And that was one of the reasons we developed the Shallot, and real goals with the Shallot is tackling the stigma of mental health. And we're doing this crowdfunding campaign right now because we want to be able to distribute to libraries, to, healthcare providers and others, just to show the power of the community.
It's a great opportunity to be published with you guys. It's really great.
Well, I'm just kind of wondering, you have so many different modalities. How do you choose which one you're going to pursue?
Oh, I don't know. I'm very grateful to be in a spot where I can do what I want to do for the most part, So yeah, like if I feel like writing, I write. If I feel like drawing, I draw. Yeah, I mean there's yeah. I don't know if that answers the question. I guess I'm just a brat. I'm just a spoiled brat who does what I want to do when I want to do it.
Well, you're gifted to be able to do so many different things.
Thank you.
That's for sure. So I'm wondering if you think about words of wisdom for other artists that face similar challenges. What would be words of wisdom that you would give?
I guess, keep going. Each day is a new day. Try to reach out and connect with people as much as you can. Isolation's not a good thing. If you can get some critical feedback, that's really valuable.
I really appreciate your time, and thank you for being a part of our community. I just think our first year has been just amazing, and I'm very excited about it. But as you think about the future, what other dreams would you have for our shared community?
I was just thinking it would be cool to engage in some sort of public art piece. Like if we all, the logistics would be hard, but if we all collaborated on a public art piece, that would be really cool. And I think, just opportunities for shows and for the journals. Like I think that'd be really great to get the journal in a bunch of libraries. That's awesome. Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, I really appreciate your time, and I'm hoping we've been seesawing in weather here, which makes this time of year really difficult. At least it makes it difficult for me. 2 days ago, it was 16 degrees, high winds, and it was just miserable. Today, it's 50 degrees.
Okay.
That seesaw, and then the dark of winter always has a big effect on me. So I'm hoping in Canada, the weather has been a little bit more steady.
Yeah, it's steady cold lately. Like I think it's minus 17 today, which is let me just check to see what that is in Fahrenheit.
Well, we can always look forward to it in a few days.
Yeah, there you go. Right. Yeah. I hear you though with the winter. It's always so it's about one degree Fahrenheit here.
Oh, that's chilly.
It's chilly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also like the contrast that winter provides. Like it's so cold and like hard to be outside, but then when you're inside, you really appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, I find for me, once I took up, I both snowshoe and cross country ski. And nice. That was really helpful to me to find a way to meet the winter in more of a partnership. But I have to say the dark nights are just really tough. I just cannot wait for December 21st and the idea that the days are getting longer. That's just such a good day for me. It's my favorite day.
Right on. Yeah, not to give unsolicited advice, but have you tried the lamp, like the light lamp? Have you heard of those?
Yeah, I have one, and
oh, excellent.
I think they definitely help, but I think a part of it is just become I don't know, sort of ingrained in the soul.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I hear you. It's like an existential thing
Yeah,
too.
yeah. So some reprieves like days like this are helpful, that's for sure. 50 degrees. It was a nice day to walk. So
Right on.
well, I'm probably going to end our conversation with more from your song.
Okay,
And
cool.
I'm really excited to put it on my playlist for walking.
Oh, awesome. That's great. That's cool to hear.
So thank you so much for joining us. And we really look forward to talking with you more.
Okay, awesome.
All right. Well, thank you, John. Take care.
Yeah, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us today. It is an honor to talk with these amazing artists. You can see and read the artist's work in The Shallot, our journal of mental health, art, and literature, or on our website, thelayeredonion.com. Thank you.